Hello and welcome to Fandom Friday, making its grand return. Fandom Friday is where a member of the Rogers Public Library staff tells you something that they are a fan of. And today I'm going to revisit the series Usagi Yojimbo, discussing the latest releases through IDW Comics. The comic Usagi Yojimbo by Stan Sakai is the tale of Miyamoto Usagi, a masterless samurai, or ronin, wandering a version of feudal Japan filled with cartoon animals. Much like a gunslinger in the Old West, he has various adventures and meets a whole host of different characters. As a creator-owned comic, Sakai has been writing and drawing Usagi Yojimbo since 1984. The stories range from issues that tell tales of epic war battles, scary supernatural tales, murder mysteries, comedic adventures, tragic stories, and a whole lot more. And that's one of the things that appeals to me about it. You get a whole host of different genres all in one comic. What's more, you never know where the story is going to go, and whether it's going to be exciting, funny, or sad. And also, Usagi doesn't always come out on top. It's not a very predictable comic. What made me want to talk about it again after I had talked about it, several months earlier, was that starting in 2020, the publishing company IDW picked up the series and announced it would be starting a new monthly series in color. For most of its history, Usagi Yojimbo has been a black and white comic. With a fresh set of new stories, the IDW line is actually a very good place for new readers to start off with if you've been intimidated by over 30 volumes of rabbit samurai stories dating back to the 1980s. So I wanted to talk about the first two volumes. Volume 1 is called Bunraku and Other Stories, and I apologize in advance for mispronouncing any Japanese names. Our first story sees Usagi uncovering a supernatural mystery with the help of Sasuke, a demon hunter who's crossed paths with him before. They uncover a creepy town secret about a puppet theater, which is what Bunraku refers to, an actual Japanese puppet drama that dates back to the 17th century. See, the thing about Stan Sakai is that he's always tricking you into learning something while you're reading your action-filled samurai rabbit comic. The second story is called The Hero and involves Usagi being a bodyguard, which is what Yojimbo means for the record, to a lady author who has written several popular stories as she takes a trip to her father's house. The woman's skill as a writer has caused her fame to exceed her own husband's, which has created some problems between them. The third story, Usagi faces off a monster in the snow that has a strong connection to his own origins. This was a 35th anniversary story that went back to the first ever Usagi Yojimbo story and dives into his past. It's a good example of why it's a good book perhaps to start off with. The final story of the first volume is called The Swords of Higashi and follows Usagi and two bounty hunters he has a lot of history with, Jin and Stray Dog, out to recover a stolen heirloom of a sword for a reward, ending in a violent but also very humorous tale. The second volume is called Homecoming and combines great action with more history as Usagi helps defend a special shipment of tamati mats for a tea ceremony for a lord helping to honor the shogun as they are transported. He actually goes into great detail, Sakai does, describing how intricate and how much design went into these real-life mats that were made in feudal Japan, and gives you a sense of how important it would be. So important that the Lord Hikiji, one of the series' reoccurring villains, who defeated Usagi's lord years ago and left him masterless, has hired the Neko Ninja, or it's Cat Ninja, to ambush the convoy taking these mats to the tea ceremony. The idea being to humiliate this rival lord and increase Hikiji's own standing in front of the shogun by preventing these mats from reaching their destination. So Usagi tries to help out this convoy of mats for this tea ceremony and protect them from the attacking ninjas. And he's helped out by an old friend, Chizu, a former leader of the Neko Ninja clan that has been put into exile. That's one of the cool things. You get to see all these characters that have a long history with the comic, but you don't necessarily need to have seen them before to catch on to why they're important and how they affect the story. Though, of course, if you've been reading it, you're very glad to see these familiar faces. Well, after that story, we get even more of Usagi's backstory as he returns to the village that he grew up in and runs into some of his old comrades who were loyal to his former lord, the lord that was defeated by Lord Akiji. Now, Lord Akiji now controls Usagi's former master's land, and they seek to undermine Akiji, the man who sent the ninja from the previous story, politically by assassinating a delegate of the shogun. However, doing this, if he were to help out his former comrades, would put in danger people from his old village that he grew up in. So we get to see, again, some more faces from earlier in the comic. You get a lot of backstory from where Usagi came from, and you also get a nice test of what Usagi's honor and loyalty mean to him. And that's the first 2 volumes of Usagi under the IDW banner. It's a great place to jump on, though I'm still going to tell you to start with Volume 1, work your way up. Just my opinion. I just love the book so much. However, if you're intimidated by that, go ahead and grab it. It's in color. You can find both Bunraku and Homecoming at the Rogers Public Library in print or available on Hoopla digitally. Thank you so much, and see you next time for another Fandom Friday.